Right, hello, good morning, and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Tuesday, the 18th day of June 2024. By His grace, we're live and we're here. We're yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude to go to Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. December polls focus on policies, not religion. Dr. Bawumia advises electorate. Court dismisses Atuforsin's appeal for lack of merit. Show compassion for well-being of all. Former President Mahama charges citizenry. Africa must build robust public transport system. Ofori Isiama. The Ghanaian Times. 2024 polls not about religion. VIP admonishes. Let's pray for peace and success of upcoming election. Ex-President Mahama. Ghana Health Service suspends Winneba Trauma Specialist Hospital medical director over death of patient in Bush. Gridco ECG announced 3-week power supply interruptions. Daily Guide, 2024 elections, vote on ideas and policies. Bawumia. Africa greatest victim of Ukraine-Russia war. Nana. 2.37 million euros ambulance case. Court throws out Atuforsin. Adenta NPP parliamentary candidate to sponsor 5,000 BEC candidates. NLA gets European Lotteries Observer membership. CRM, Blue Ocean dispatches cylinders to exchange points. The New Crusading Guide. Court of Appeal throws out Atuforsin. Inspire others to achieve greatness. Yoko Boss urges GFCSC graduates. Bawumia's campaign strategy daisies NDC. Paul Chumberima declares. Former workers of BCM Ghana to petition Shraj over injustice against them. A trip down memory lane, SFO, 2002 investigative report on SNIT and DIC on state hotels, Part 1. Compta Mines enhances small-scale mining with advanced machinery. The Daily Statesman. Your appeal holds no water. Court of Appeal throws out Atuforsin. Ghana secures seat on Shelter Africa Development Bank Board. Minister calls for robust African transport system. SETAC strike described as illegal. Puzuri Group, ICO, partner to improve crop yields. The Daily Searchlight. NPP running mate saga. Bawumia confused, indecisive, and stymied? That's a question. Why are we giving licenses to mine in forest reserves? Nana Akumia. CRM is ready as Blue Ocean dispatches cylinders to exchange points. SETAC strike, illegal. Return to classroom for negotiations. Fair Wages Commission. Minister of Education awarded for transforming education. Daily Post. Business community rallies to support Mahama at fundraising dinner. Demo today to stop the sales of SNIT hotels for peanuts by NPP government. Lordina Mahama calls for unity within the NDC as the party prepares for the 2024 elections. SNIT itself would have been sold if the minority did not intervene. Secretary General of the Ghana Federation of Labour. Economy Times. Foreign direct investment volumes shrink for first quarter 2024. Ghana youth unemployment stags around 7.16%. AFDB report. CD to NE at 15.91 to $1 as analyst revises forecast. And that's about it for the front pages. We'll be back shortly. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. With me on the show this morning is the latest football investor or administrator or entrepreneur or however you want to describe him. Well, he's also a member of parliament. He's actually a member of parliament for the Botiano English Amanfro constituency. And he's also the Honorable Deputy Minister of Information. The Honorable Sylvester Tete is here with me, and I'm sure you're wondering the football bit. Okay, you're going to find out pretty shortly. It's not Botiano or English stars. It's something else. It's like good morning.
Good morning, dog.
How you doing? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it is. I was here last week, but you're out of town.
I was in Mali.
Yes, and of course, when the curtains were being brought down on the Premier League. I know there was so much pressure.
Yes, yes.
Good to see you. Good morning to our viewers once again, to my brother Echi.
Okay. So, the Honourable Member of Parliament for the South Dai constituency, the legal practitioner, Roxy Nelson, the former pro, is also here with us on the show. Honourable, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
You didn't add that I'm also a football owner. A football investor.
Pecky Stars.
No. I support them. I support clubs in my constituency.
So you have like Division 2 clubs in your constituency?
Yes, I have two of them. One in Chambay and one in Germany.
Oh, okay.
To Parliament, Germany. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see.
It's a group of chaps who have come together to. And interestingly, they play both home and away matches in Hull.
Because you don't have the
we are
infrastructure.
working on that.
Okay. Division 2, the infrastructure requirements are not that stringent. Yeah. But I mean, once you have a good playing field, fence.
Sakura Park.
It was something I never understood, that your home matches will be played somewhere and your away matches will be played on the same venue.
Yes, it's because you don't have
you don't have.
You determine your home ground. So if you don't have the facilities, you could be moved.
No, there are countries where the entire league is played at one or two venues.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because they don't have.
Because of the.
I mean, even Cote d'Ivoire until recently, they had some particular venue because they wanted what would go on TV to be. Okay. You know, but now
we have some standard.
The AFCON, you see, they've done a lot of top class facilities, so they're good. So Sly is our newest is joined us now, all the way in the Western region.
Yes, Baseke Holy Stars FC.
Newly promoted Premiership team.
We have to investigate you how you acquire football clubs all over the place. As Deputy Minister of Information.
All over the place, you said?
All over the place.
Oh,
but has he told you that he has acquired?
You don't even.
You haven't acquired. How, how can you invest when you haven't acquired?
He's investing his time and his brains.
No, you don't. No money. Free carriage. This is a free carriage. You know. It's free carriage. So. It doesn't mean I've acquired it, so be careful choice of words. Don't quote me wrongly.
Before they go and cite you for not seeking permission from
for engaging Office of Profit.
You know, that's been the passion. Some of us, we followed football from infancy, and we always want to support football, whichever form or shape. In my constituency, they all know. You know, I've sent people for GFA license, is it C or D training courses in Pram Pram. It's been quite useful. Every year, I organize a Sylvester Tete Cup in my constituency. I have the biggest and most beautiful AstroTurf now in Tuba. And I know, yes, Dreams is coming there as a home.
Does it have an inner perimeter?
Inner perimeter, VVIP stands. We have the stands, 1,000 seater.
Clubhouse,
changing rooms. Yes,
I
have everything.
At Tuba.
At Tuba. It's quite really beautiful. So most of the Division 1 Middle League were played there. Vision was playing there. Vision was Atram was playing there. Oh. So now I hear Dreams is coming there. So we are so excited and hopeful.
Really?
Yes, that they should come. We are welcoming them to come. In fact, from morning to evening, many different clubs are using it.
Oh, you have lights?
Yes, we have light and everything. It's most powerful light you can think of. So we will be developing another one also in a month from very soon, just to promote sports development and talent. And Baseke FC is in town to break the season.
That's the name of the club.
Baseke FC. Watch out for Baseke FC in the coming season.
From the Nzima area.
Of course. So they are in town to be playing some local teams to climax the season. We had the coronation over the weekend, Saturday, in Nzima, and of course they are here. This afternoon they will be taking on the winner of Tuba. And then another team from Kokrobite.
The man is milking the team.
Oh, of course. It's for the local people to also have a feel of it. We have some Division 2 clubs. So we're playing the Salah Gala, and then the winner will be playing the newly promoted Baseke FC today. So they got into town last night, and this morning we've gone for a shake-up. So will be playing this afternoon at 4 p.m. So the match starts at 2, and they'll be playing at 4 p.m. today at Tuba. So I'm entreating everybody to come to the most beautiful Tuba AstroTurf. It's beautiful, Randy. You should come have a look at it.
I'll come look
if the
at
Premiership starts, obviously you'll be coming there. So
definitely.
you'll be coming to play there.
I'll come look at it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Maybe I need to also ask Mr. Qatar, the Greater Accra FA chairman.
Oh yes, he knows there.
Okay.
He's been there a couple of times. He knows the place. So, in fact, he called me last week that they are going to start their middle league.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to
support. They need support.
I'll support them.
They need a lot of support. Because they're going to play at the Accra Sports Stadium.
Yes.
And it costs a lot of money.
I may have to arrange a match between my Parliament Stars and Chameleon Stars.
No problem.
Yeah, you have to.
Yes. No, I will come.
Local derby.
Yes, local derby.
It'll be a big one.
Yes, it will be.
When is the Yam? Is it a Yam festival?
We have 2 festivals coming up. We have the Yam Festival and then the Gbizan, the Bee Festival. So,
which dates? Which months?
The Yam Festival is in August.
Okay.
And the Bee Festival is in November. No, November, December. This is an election year, so I suspect they'll move.
So the August one could be a precursor to the new season.
That's right. So we can arrange that. We'll beat your Bakasa boys.
Hey, be careful.
You are not scared of the day.
No. Oh, so this is the.
That's a
Tuba Astro.
Okay.
That's the Tuba Astro.
This is my production people.
They are serious. They are sharp.
Let me say this. In 2022, the president came to Peki to celebrate the 175th anniversary of the AP Church.
Okay.
And so we were on the days and we were having a chat with the regional
minister. Did the church start from Peki?
Yes.
The EP Church.
It
started from Peki.
1847.
Okay.
So before I became MP, that event was always celebrated in home. But through the instrumentality of myself and some others, we fought.
You brought it home.
Brought it home to Blengo. So we had.
But that was so unfair.
Yeah, we had the 175th anniversary celebration. The president came in a helicopter. So
did you have to add that?
Oh no! So on the days he asked me what he could do for the community, the young people. So I said that's true. And so they are building one for us in Peki. Originally, we thought it could be located at the Chame Park, but it's been moved to Jake. But whatever it is,
it's still within there.
Yes.
That's
please.
The maintenance.
No, make sure that the dimensions.
Yes.
Yes.
The playing surface itself, the playing field itself, then the wide marks.
Yes.
It meets
the line.
Yes.
From the line to the bench, from the bench to the inner perimeter. Kindly make sure that they all meet the standards.
Okay.
You see, that's when
over 90% of the AstroTurfs don't.
But you see,
honestly, what's being built looks very small.
Usually, AstroTurfs that were built by the institutions, those that are not coming from the Ministry of Sports, Youth and Sports, don't really have, because these are community parks that AstroTurf.
So they are for purposes other than competitive football.
Exactly. They are for training purposes and perhaps community.
But what we requested for is one for football matches.
So you should have been.
You should sometimes on the basis of cost and all that.
They cut it down. They reduce the size.
Have they laid the turf already?
No, they are doing the base.
The base. Yes, why there's still room for since that is the only turf.
But is the land?
Yeah, the park is bigger.
Okay.
In fact, it's sitting in the middle of the park with wide spaces.
So there are a lot of spaces.
Okay. You see, this is an original football pitch.
Okay.
That's been converted into, and it's
normally the so-called original pitches themselves don't meet the standards. So when they go, they build to fit.
Because some of these pitches over time have had a lot of they've had a lot of built up situations.
Yeah. Okay.
So they've been
trespassed.
So you find that people still play at those old places by the size, and there's there's no opportunity for
to expand,
any expansion.
to standardize it.
And it impacts the players.
So for many of you politicians, for nostalgic reasons and also for harvesting of votes, even when it's pointed out to you, and I know this because I've asked a lot of questions about it, even when it's pointed out to you, you insist that for those reasons, the thing must still be done at those places because they represent something within the community.
Some sentimental,
or that's where majority
of sentimental value.
That's where majority of the votes come from. And so although you have other parcels of land,
alternative,
where you could have this built in the same constituency, you insist that the thing must still be at where you can only get 77.
The Chame Park, it has a double pitch, which the entire Peking knows that the Chame Park is the biggest one. So this project should have been located in Chame.
But find out and get the right measurement. When Owusu Ansan was at the ministry, he was always insisting about the size.
That's Rex.
Yes.
Rex Owusu Ansan.
No, Dr. Owusu
Ansan.
The one who just passed.
Okay.
Oh, he passed?
Yeah, Dr. Owusu Ansan is passed. He's gone. He's gone.
No, I'm sorry.
I think a couple of months ago.
Wow, I didn't know that. He was very particular about it. And he was a consultant when the Siama was the minister. He was a consultant to the ministry.
For your resource centers?
Yes, for the resource centers. He was a consultant. So he was special advisor to the minister on infrastructure.
Yeah.
May he so rest in peace.
All right. Okay. So, well, if you're thinking of getting a toothpaste that will take care of the entire family and also save you a lot of money, the recommended family toothpaste is KEL 360 toothpaste. It's approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. KEL 360 toothpaste provides you and your family with all-round dental protection throughout the day with freshness. KEL 360 toothpaste is good for kids, children, and adults. Let your family be a proud family when they step out by constantly using KEL 360 toothpaste. It brightens your teeth, prevents cavity, and with its cool mint, gives you a fresh breath throughout the day and protects the gum from decaying. For consistency and quality, use KEL 360 toothpaste. KEL 360 toothpaste is another product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso. It's available in all supermarkets, malls, and provision shops. Call Samara Company on 0246 864 798. KEL 360 toothpaste. Happy smile. And enjoying the fruits of your labor is as important as enjoying the mansions of your labor. The pains of climbing the stairs when exercising could be challenging, irrespective of your age, but worry no more. Lifts and elevators have got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple, self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in, and they come in 3 custom-made models. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit Lift and Elevators at Sakumono, or just call them on 0200-535-515 or send a mail to elevatorsgh@gmail.com for consultations and the best solutions in easy vertical movement. Sly, how exciting or challenging is your new portfolio? Deputy Minister of Information.
Randy, thank you.
As part of the injury time squad.
Well, most players come onto the pitch at the injury time and score goals. You're a football administrator, so you should know that substitutes come in and do magic. So for that reason, I remember when we were playing against Mali, we saw the changes the coach did, and the magic that came with it. So I believe that no matter what the time you are brought on the pitch, you must make your impact be felt by the good people. Of course, 6 months to the end of elections, we are clear in our minds. Randy, we've been doing this for a while now. I've been the vice chairman of the communications committee in Parliament, having oversight over the Ministry of Information. So I've had some inside information with respect to the operations of the Ministry of Information for that matter. I've worked closely with the then minister and the ministry.
Clarify something for me.
Yeah.
So with your appointment, would you step down as the vice chair?
Yes, I will. Right. I mean, the new committees have been constituted. You cannot be a referee in your own court. So obviously I cannot.
You cannot oversee yourself.
Yes, of course. Okay. I cannot do that. So obviously, in fact, there was a meeting last Friday with the Minister for Communication and Digitalization, with the committee. I couldn't chair the meeting. The chair was out of town. I couldn't chair the meeting for obvious reasons. So I had to sit in the meeting as a member or as an observer, even though the official processes for change of committees has not been done yet. I only sat in the meeting, and another member chaired the meeting. Even in the absence of the chair of the committee, I couldn't have chaired that meeting as it were. So, Randy, I mean, we are clear. My boss, Fatima Abubakar, we've started our media tour, media engagement, seeing the media as a partner in whatever we do. Our mandate is clear: to disseminate government information and help to bring some policies to the management of information sector. In our rounds, a lot of things have been revealed to us, which we are aware of some of them already. We are aware, Randy, today the print media is dying. And the advent of artificial intelligence, the issues of AI, and of course, on the impact on information management and dissemination is quite dying on us. Of course, we are looking at how to manage misinformation and disinformation ahead of elections. That has been the global
big threat
to all of us, and we must see information sharing. What the ministry is going to do is to have some enabled fact-checking apps to be able to help fact-check information that are put out. Clearly, Randy, I've seen many media houses being mimicked, and stories are churned out in your names, which is not coming from the media houses themselves. So we are all challenged, as it were. So I'm going to support my minister. She's the vision bearer. She's been appointed as a minister. My job is to assist the minister in my personal capacity and whichever things she thinks that I'm fit to handle, to support her. We've had a very long-lasting, cordial working relationship, myself and Fatima Abubakar. There's no problem working together with Fati. She's a younger sister of mine. She's been at the ministry for 4 years as a deputy minister and Akojo Nkrumah. So she has a very good disposition of the ministry. And for that matter, assisting her from Parliament will aid her work. And we are hopeful that the few months left will make an impact in the media industry. We will call for collaboration with industry players to ensure. Randy, the biggest challenge we have, over 700 radio licenses, and of course over 500 are operational. The challenge of professionalism, ethics.
Over 500?
Yes, in this country alone. Over 150 television stations. And then the social media channels that are being churned out today. Now there's a new association of social media practitioners, TikTokers and all these people. It's coming out in their numbers. And of course, they have huge following. Some of them have huge following, more than traditional media houses. So editorial policies have become. So we need to make a lot of investment if we want to safeguard the national integrity of our country with respect to information dissemination. If you are not careful, people could be run down, and politicians and non-political actors are worried, especially business persons are worried. One person needs to find a blogger with over 1 million followers. It can run you down immediately. So we need to fashion our policies to be able not to control, but let people understand the impact of what they are doing, as it were. The laws of this country are quite clear, and that government cannot subject the media space to control, governmental control. That is why even the state-owned broadcast is not under control. But of course, we owe it as a duty to shape policy in that direction. So it's a huge task and a burden for all of us to be able to see how, wherever you find it, once we sit behind the console and we realize that media, we have a media capacity and training. We need resources to train the media practitioners and even the public. Their own understanding and their participation in the media space is quite key. So if you look at the Ministry of Information, you might think that perhaps it's a government mouthpiece for churning out propaganda for government. But it goes beyond that. If you really want to stay on the mandate of the ministry, but the bottom line is the ministry need the necessary logistics and funding. If you look at IS, the Information Services Department, formally, those days you have to go to communities and show cinemas. And these days, when you put it out there, nobody will be watching. So to stay competitive and have all these people put their expertise to use of government, you have to devise modern technology for dissemination of government information. You cannot take information van to communities anymore to go and show movies for people to clamor and come and watch. Where they have DSTV, they have social media handles. They can watch anything they want to watch. There is not fashionable anymore. Therefore, the ISD itself is rebranding itself. That requires a lot of logistics to be able to. We went around the media.
You know this picture there? The picture on the screen now?
Yes.
This one?
Yes. Okay, newsstands.
I remember this because when we were young,
yes, you go and
we used to do this, yes.
You go and stand there.
Especially when you come buy the paper.
Yes, you go and stand there and read the head. I saw that when you have fun with the vendor, you just sit behind and he'll give you some of the papers.
And help him to sell.
Yes.
You know, when I started Good Morning Ghana, I drive to the Orion Cinema myself. Yeah. So I drive there around 4:35 and I wait for the papers. And I grab the papers and drive to Laboni.
Wow.
Yeah, to get the papers scanned. So my first few months, that was my routine.
Wow.
Yes.
Before
amazing. We then started getting the driver to go pick up the papers to bring them. But when I started Good Morning Ghana, I go to Orion myself, pick up the papers and bring them.
Famous Orion Cinema.
Yeah, bring them.
We went round and the plight of the print media is quite not too good.
Not too good is an understatement.
Randy, what else?
Hey,
it's virtually dying.
Yes.
Now
it's in comatose.
Daily Graphic, Times, they are now printing from private sources.
Look, it's terrible.
We need to have the conversation. The minister is clear in her mind what policies to put in place and get government approval to support the sector. It was almost dying. And the competition...
Recently it was announced that government are giving a go-ahead for graphic to list
be listed,
on the exchange.
Yeah, for
and I don't know what happened to graphic because there was a certain turnaround by the venerable Kofi Bedu, which then changed the face of graphic, added a few more things, then it appeared that graphic became more of a company that could stand on its own and finance its own operations and all that. That was always used as a reference point for the Times Group, the New Times Corporation. But it appears that now graphic is in such a hole. Financially.
The essence of graphic, where they make their chunk of the money from, is from adverts, commercials. Randy, if you look at the space now, the investing community, they always look at the returns on their investment. As if you put your advert in graphic, what's the circulation today? For the state agencies, they will.
Where do most people rely
for
news?
Yeah. So that's the problem now. And like I told you, people are now investing in TikTokers and social media celebrities because they have huge following and depending on the kind of product you are selling. So it all have an effect on operations of graphic and others. And of course, their overheads are quite huge, but it's still profitable. There are some new areas they could venture into. So this idea of listing could offer all of us opportunity to put in our token to ensure that it survives. And that's a very credible news outlet that we cannot help to let it go. Of course, they should also adopt modern technology and modern way of disseminating information. People could subscribe. I've subscribed to news outlet from UK and in the US. You pay money for it. So you don't need to be physically carrying your graphic to homes, to offices, and for people. People could subscribe on their phones and pay for it, and then they'll have a monthly or quarterly or yearly subscription. These are all options, but make sure you deliver the news as it is. So that's what is being done in other jurisdictions. But all these things require some sort of investment. So government approval for listing of graphic itself, I think is a step in the right direction. That when the modalities are set out clearly, I think we are quite far to do that, and I believe that we all help to support. Beyond that, not only graphic, what about the private print houses?
Hey.
It's terrible. The biggest one is currently Daily Guide. We've been to Daily Guide, and the situation is not different from other houses. Even though you see them in the stands every day, they print for a number of print houses, papers, who have not paid them for months or years. Even the state-owned
They are
ones.
not in a position to pay.
And one interesting thing, that is only thing you cannot, as it were, increase the price monthly or even quarterly. Sometimes a year, they've not increased their price, but their input prices are always changing with respect to the state of the dollar and all that. So we've asked them to do some few arrangements, and we are going to push for government to really come to their aid. When we came to Metro TV, we saw the state-of-the-art studios you have, and I said, well, it could only be Metro TV, where AI is being deployed for. Now you don't see people standing behind the cameras and all that. This is a huge investment, and I think that no wonder you are doing so well. But I think the media space, we should be aiming at going international. When our market is quite small, you should be able to have a broadcast house that could transmit and be viewed in other jurisdictions. That's where you have a huge market. Then the businesses, even outside this jurisdiction, will be putting their businesses to you. And that's the only way media houses can survive. If you don't have the commercials coming in, no matter the good of your programs, obviously you are not going to do well. So it's quite challenging, but of course, my minister understands the industry very well. We are going to work with industry players to ensure that we get them on their feet and be able to contribute their development. The election is coming. You realize that there are a lot of report on the media space today about misinformation, disinformation, ownership of media houses are being discussed. I was on panel discussion, and one of the things that coming up clearly is media ownership and the content that is churned out today. One day is a source of worry, and we are going to discuss these things devoid of political inclination to ensure that people really understand what we are going to. Most stations are set up for political purposes. It is not wrong to have an editorial policy of a media house aligned to one political ideology or the other. But of course, the content of what we produce must not be seen to inflame passions, but must be seen to overall help shape policy of government to ensure that we hold government accountable and to ensure that even the opposition are held accountable. It's not only government that should be held accountable. Even the opposition parties are supposed to be held accountable and interrogate their policies. You don't just tell us anything you want to do and the media keeps quiet over it. But I think the last report, Reporters Without Border, Ghana's performance has been remarkably improved. The saddest part of it is the economic indicator that has been added to the indicators that saw most of our media houses, truth be told, reporters are not paid. Not all these people working for media houses, if you interrogate them, they don't pay their social security. They are not even paid. Most of them do these things for pro bono. And that is a key indicator that impacts our performance. And we believe that the media houses are not making enough. So somebody set up a radio station, has about 20 staff. They don't make much money to cover their bills. How much more are they going to pay them? And young people have found it very fashionable to be working in the space. So that increases the plight of the vulnerable state of our media practitioners. And it impacts our performance negatively.
My point is that there are clear rules.
Yeah.
You see, this whole media thing is founded on free expression. But when you decide to set up a business to engage in free expression, it then becomes an issue that goes beyond free expression.
Exactly.
I hope you understand.
Exactly.
And those are sort of things that we must watch. I keep telling people that, look, basic things like training and retraining.
It's key.
Zero. I mean, I dare say that about 99% of media houses do not even have a training and development policy. They don't.
But the person to initiate that himself do not even have the basic training to institute that within them.
I sometimes use myself as an example, and I say that, look, I've worked full employee for, let's say, 3 media houses. None of them is even taking me to a 30-minute workshop.
You always do that on your own?
Yes. So it's just the pursuit of personal development.
Exactly.
That pushes you and all that. And me, for the life of me, one of the biggest issues that I also have, and this thing of this media whole thing ought to be, we need to have a proper engagement on it. But look, we're pretending to have a public broadcaster or public broadcasting in this country, but we don't have it. And that is the biggest problem. Yeah. A country like Ghana needs a proper public broadcaster, not a state broadcaster.
Yeah, it's a public broadcaster.
A public broadcast, proper public broadcaster. So these are pretense with GBC and what GBC is doing and all that. This country needs a public broadcaster more than ever. So a GBC, in my view, is needed more than ever in a country like Ghana, especially in these times where you have a lot of the country very polarized. This is where you need an efficient public broadcaster. Unfortunately, how we have turned GBC into is not making that thing a reality. And it's something we need to confront. We are pretending that we have a public broadcaster. The public broadcaster is also pretending to be engaged in public broadcasting. But that's not what is happening. And so we are shortchanging ourselves at both ends. And it's time that we critically took a look at it and looked at how we can redefine and reposition GBC to play its role as a public broadcaster. And I'm sure that, look, if you go to, say, the States, and you look at how popular public broadcasting is, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. And how over the years it has evolved. The last time I think it was in 2005, where I got to study about public broadcasting in the U.S., because of the U.S. State Department program. At that time, they were relying on only 8% of their total budget was funded through the Congress. So
8%.
Only 8%. Over time, from 100%, they are getting to a point where, as at 2005, 92% didn't come from
the state.
The state, and even that one was through Congress, not the executive per se. I am sure that by now it could probably be close to zero. And then you have the ombudsman working efficient. I tell people that if I cannot work in a public broadcast space because I'm opinionated, I hope you understand what I'm saying. So it works. So somebody gets up and is going to tune to C-SPAN. They know what to expect.
Exactly.
If they are in Minnesota, they want to listen to Minnesota Public Radio. They know what to expect there. Yeah. If they decide to go to the Foxes and CNNs and others, they know what to expect there.
Skewed.
Yes. And so for a country like Ghana, we really, really, really need a proper, efficient public broadcaster. But we're pretending to be spending some money, and we're also pretending to be getting some public broadcast service. But that's not what is happening.
You see, when you go to GBC and you realize that over time, and GBC has a number of affiliates, the investment required for them to be able to make the returns and to be on their feet. So successive government will always attempt to support them. I think that the new broadcasting bill helped to fix some of these issues. Now it's gone through the AG for review. We've done the public's engagement. It will be coming back to Parliament for approval, and then subsequently being assented to by the President. I believe that these are some of the things that we should all be looking at in the best interest. I've always been saying that politicians is either on the left or on the right at one point in time. So we must all work to ensure that the sanctity of this environment and these tools that we need every day of our lives, devoid of undue political advantage. And I think that GBC over time has had a good opportunity to be able to assert itself, to be able to play that public broadcasting role that one expects them to do. But before they get it, like you said, from the US, it took time for them to come to where they are.
Yes.
So we know it will take time. So conscious of this effort, we must all endeavor to really fund them, the state-of-the-art equipment. You go to some of their studios and all that. I think that there are people who have retired from GBC for years. Their service entitlement had not been paid. They had to keep occupying the bungalows where they were until recently. that they have to look for money and sell some assets of GBC to be able to pay them off, to free the space and all that. There are a number of issues they've had over time. So we must all sit down and agree that this is the role we want you to play. How do you get there? We need to put the right investment. And then we will tax them that, look, henceforth we expect that before these equipment are worn out, and you see over time, we've overloaded GBC and other state institutions that are expected to play the public media role with a number of employees. You go there and you realize that if a private person owns this, perhaps we use 1/3 of the people who are working there or less. So the burden, the overhead of running these institutions over time, and they will continuously be paid by the state and all that. But I think that this is a conversation we must all have to really draw the line between what the public broadcaster is and what a state broadcaster is. I mean, correct. Nobody is scrambling for public state broadcaster anymore. Then the private sector must also
it's not fit for purpose.
Must also be encouraged to play its role to complement the work of the public broadcasting as it is.
Okay. So, Honorable.
Yes.
You have any comments on this first?
Yes. I heard Sylvester.
You know the disinformation and misinformation one. I saw one last week. You saw the one with the NDC,
NDC
list minister. With me as a minister for youth and sports.
Yes. you feature prominently.
I saw it just hey.
When
nobody sent it to me. I laughed.
When they cook things, that's what happens. Look,
Eche was missing.
Proper cloning.
You were missing.
I was missing.
Hey.
The list. It comes in batches.
They should have given you voter regional minister.
The list it comes in batches, so it happens. Look, I've just listened to Sylvester. It was waxing lyrically about your boss was there for 4 years as deputy, and you are telling me she's the vision bearer. She has no vision to implement. No, hold on.
No, that be fair to her.
Hold on. I listened to you.
I didn't know you to be this mean.
She's my boss. Mean. So at the ministry, if you work, she is a boss.
She has no vision to bear, my brother. She will implement government's agenda. And let me tell you, your agenda, your midterm agenda for the ministry is from 2022 to 2027. She has nothing.
What are you talking about?
But in implementing the agenda, won't she bring some strategy, some ingenuity?
As deputy, when she was deputy to Opon Nkrumah.
Well, she was working up to it.
Let me tell you the things Kojo Opon Nkrumah did with the support of Fati over the last 4 years.
What did Kojo do as the Minister of Information?
At least.
Apart from
let's just clear this. I'm getting some messages. When you're speaking about the print media, and you spoke about some of them even have to print from private places.
Yes.
Okay, I thought I had Times, but some of our people said you mentioned graphic.
Not Times.
No,
sorry.
He said Times.
Yes, because graphic prints themselves.
No, graphic.
He said Times.
I said Times.
I'm sitting here. He mentioned it was very.
So it's good I've brought it up for you to clarify.
It's Times. He mentioned Times. I was even going to mention that graphic has its own subsidiary. That does the publishing and also does
packaging.
Exactly, a lot of advertorials for corporate entities. So I'm struggling to appreciate.
They even have an app.
Yes. I'm struggling to appreciate the fact that graphic today is in distress.
I said Times.
No, they are financials
and it's all part of. It's a microcosm of the macro situation that we have in the entire country. A lot of state institutions are in distress because of misgovernance.
No, please.
Look, please. Look.
Go and check
the ministry. The Ministry of Information. They were in Parliament just in December, bemoaning the fact that they don't have adequate funding. I was there. You don't have adequate funding. So what can you do? The RTI, the implementation of the RTI law and such other programs like promoting good governance and all that. Open media engagement and all. They don't have adequate funding to do it. Look, the RTI as an entity, they don't have an official office space. They are in a rented premises. Go and see how they are struggling. So we set up a law that is supposed to even generate revenue. And yet, we will not make resources available to properly implement the agency, the law that created the agency. And what is particularly sad about the RTI entity, for instance, is that as a people, after the law was promulgated, we came out with the fiscal policy, fiscal impact analysis, and determined that a certain amount, I think if I recall, about 750 million Ghana cedis will be required for its effective implementation. Because we didn't have it at the time of passing the law, we suspended the implementation for about a year.
That's not the reason.
That is the reason.
That is not.
That is the reason. Were you in Parliament?
I wasn't in Parliament.
You were not.
Yeah,
but that is the reason.
No.
In fact, this was championed by the then minister, a member for Suhum, Honorable Pariansa. He championed it. He got the fiscal impact analysis done, about 750 million. Because of that, go and check the hands on that, because I was central to the passage of the RTI law. We passed the law and suspended its implementation for a year, so the government could look for that resources and ensure that the RTI implementation took off properly. Because we're even supposed to have regional offices, have district offices. Today they are beholden in some quiet private accommodation at Jawulu, and the implementation is running into problems. Things are not properly done. Today, you apply for RTI, you request for information from the presidency, they tell you that it is exempted. And yet
but the law exempts it.
And then they will turn around and release the information anyway. So, look, I wish that
is it they telling you it's exempted or the law exempts it? And there are two different things here.
I wish
the law that you help pass have given some exemptions.
I wish that my brother would have gotten enough time to bring some transformation to bear at the work of the ministry. But like you said, every time.
Let him be reminded that whatever I do at the ministry, I work to my minister.
Can I finish?
So you must know that
I listen to you quietly. And I'm saying that you don't have enough time. Your time is up. You are 4 goals down, and you've been brought in at the 98th minute.
You remember Manchester United and
Bayern Munich, 1999.
1999.
Oh, that's
go and watch it
kind
again.
of match.
Go and watch it again.
I'm a Man U fan.
I'm a Man U fan too.
And let me tell you this: you are 4 goals down. We are playing the extra time of the full 90 minutes.
Don't go far. Côte d'Ivoire. Ghana against which team?
And you've been brought in.
Well, we need to know which team was that.
So, don't bring back my
So is it Comoros? Is it Comoros? Ghana against Quebec.
We brought the ball back ourselves.
Yes. So that kind of luck, that kind of they luck will smile at you. So, but the truth be told, and the situation is that the ministry itself is struggling.
It's true.
The ministry is because when they come to Parliament, and we try and make the case, because you see, like Randy is saying, in any serious democracy, the Ministry of Information is such a key state institution, because you champion the policies of the government, you broadcast the policies of government, you communicate policies of government. So you are such a key institution, a key part of how government should communicate to the people. So yes, me, I wish you well. You are a young man. We are contemporaries. You have the opportunity. Just do your best, but make the case for your ministry to be properly resourced. We are speaking of GBC. GBC is in distress. In fact, the regional offices are in such a state that it's unbelievable that the regional offices of GBC that used to be a bulwark of sources of information from the metropolitan Accra are in distress. They can't even manage simple expenditures. If you go to the whole office, it's in a sorry state. So no wonder the private ones are thriving. because the spaces that used to be occupied by the state broadcaster, if you are ceding it, the private entities will occupy it. You know,
are you suggesting that the private media houses are doing well?
Well, for me, on the average,
a tiny minority.
Okay, but on average, they are doing well. For me, on the average, they are doing well because you see that the consumption, the consumption.
You see, this country ought to be a bit more serious about issues of the media. Like I said, this whole media thing is founded on free expression.
Yes.
But when it becomes a company, when it becomes an entity, there are things beyond free expression that we need to deal with. You know, you have the issue of the ethics that we ought to look at, and then you also have the issue of what the laws say, issues of even minimum wage, social security, payment of taxes, and all those things. I mean, those are all issues that we ought to look at. My biggest point is that, my biggest problem is that, look, people are quick to speak about the power of the media and what the media can do, and to tell us about, especially the negative things that irresponsible media practice has created. And they're quick to tell us about a genocide in Rwanda and all those things. But our actions suggest that we really don't care about who has access to a pen or a microphone. We don't care.
We don't check that.
No, we don't care. Our actions suggest that we do not care.
So long as they are...
Yes, we do not care.
True.
Yet we always will come and bemoan and speak about the power of the media and what the media can do and this. And I'm not talking about censorship, but I'm saying that we just don't care. It looks like we don't care.
But I tell you, Randy, today, the practitioners themselves are concerned. Some of them are concerned about the state.
Many.
Many more of them are concerned. You go around and they tell you they are worried about the decay of professionalism and ethics. I mean, there are people who have not had any training at all.
They are occupying the space.
They sit behind consoles, and the kind of questionings and the things they churn out, it's amazing. And you see, the results of that is what we always question. But what ignites that, we don't talk about.
You see, there are two pathways to becoming a journalist. You either go through formal education or
on the job.
You learn on the job.
Or
both. Or both.
Yes.
Whichever way, there ought to be some
observance of ethical standards.
There has to be some training. Two, because it is founded on free expression, there are people who didn't go to journalism school or did not study journalism, but they have the passion, they have even the competence. So you would realize that a lot of people who express opinions, columnists and all those people, I mean, sometime back in the UK, a columnist who's not somebody who's seen as a journalist won the Journalist of the Year. And
but
in
it
Ghana,
in this country too.
In Ghana, for many years, we've had some of the best, some of the people whose opinions or whose articles, I mean, ignited a lot of...
Feature writers.
Yes, were people who were not mainstream journalists, but were opinionated, had the facts, who write extremely well and all those things. But there is so much insanity. And we look on sheepishly. And you see, it appears that anytime you see a realization that there are regulations, there are rules, there are ethics, then the victim, whether it's an organization or a person, appears to have offended a government. That is only when it appears that
there's
we realize action. That, look, something wrong is being done. Meanwhile, it's been done
to thousands of private citizens.
Across this issue of money doubling and fake prophecies and
it's littered all over the place. Some have their own channels now.
All those who have those channels, they do not conjure the channels from their
from earth,
from their bedrooms. You understand what I'm
you
saying?
see, the point here, again, that's why the broadcasting bill is seeking to cure the lacuna. The one who gives the spectrum, by law, is not the one who regulates content.
But there is a body that regulates it.
There's a body that regulates content.
Yes.
So when we say it's not conjured from anywhere, but it was given.
Yes.
So I give the spectrum.
Yes.
You have the responsibility to regulate content.
Yes.
So that's the problem. So you go to the one who gives the spectrum. You say, yes, my duty is when the set out rules are met and I've given the spectrum. This person is also mandated to regulate content.
So that person must do
Exactly.
his job. The DVLA licenses vehicles and drivers.
And the police.
It doesn't engage in the enforcement of safety.
Yeah, road safety.
Yes.
Road safety.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there is something, because you see, there's a reason why those bodies were set up.
Yeah.
But what you see does not suggest that you have bodies that, and like I said, these bodies always show us that they know that there is a law. They know the law can be enforced. But at what times or at which times do they do this work?
Randy, I was going to make a final point before I conclude. Even in terms of the content, now gradually, surreptitiously, imperceptibly, you will see LGBT content.
Yeah.
And things that are shown even in the public media. And the content will come in a flash. And it's there. Nobody checks that. Cartoons that are shown for the consumption of our children, we are increasingly seeing LGBT content in it. Nobody is raising the red flag. Our women and adolescents who are so hooked to these telenovelas, you see LGBT content replete in these telenovelas. Nobody is raising the red flag. And these people, this is how they operate. They begin to titillate your mind. They begin to give you doses of it in bits and pieces. Eventually, you begin to accept it. So, in terms of content, we have a problem in monitoring and sanitizing the contents that are copiously, displayed on our TV screens and on our electronic channels. So, like I was saying, our ex-investor that even though he's leaving after December, he should use the rest of the 4 months to bring some transformation to bear in terms of sanitizing the content. The National Media Commission, they're supposed to work in tandem with them. I don't want to bore you with the constitutional provision. They themselves, if you look at the annual budget, you cry. And so you wonder what they do. They are just sitting there earning salary. That's all. They are unable to do anything effective in terms of performing the mandate that is constitutionally given to them to perform.
Let me say this to Eche. He who thinks he's standing
But becomes like
so be careful.
You're on therapy,
Anyway, anyway, so we'll take a break. We'll return. Hands off our hotels. Hands off our hotels. There's a demo. The demo is expected to have started by now. Hands off our hotels, and it's been led by the ranking member on foreign affairs and MP for Norton, Samuel Okujato Ablakwa. We'll look at the hands off demo, and then. You all read a piece about some health insurance mandatory for people, and you have to pay between $45 and $200-something. And I mean, over the weekend, people were just livid about it. The Ministry of Health has issued a statement clarifying the issue. This statement is signed by the Honorable Minister, Dr. Bernard Oko Boy. We'll look at that as well. And then last week we were reading about constitutional review, and I was confused because I saw the issue about the former leader of parliament having done that and all that, and my recollection told me that there were perhaps about 3 different bodies, all working towards constitutional review. And I'm sure all of this funded from the same public purse. What is going on? We'll find out about that as well. We'll be back shortly. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show are the Honorable Sylvester Tete and the Honorable Roxanne Nelson, the farmer. Now, I so cool. That could somewhat down be big, but Betway's cash out be bigger. Betway is giving you more control of every thrilling bet you place. Enjoy the biggest and most reliable cash out in Ghana on Betway without any hassle. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. It's not for persons under 18, and this is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more. And Blue Jeans energy drink has been on the Ghanaian market for over 20 years. We already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy, as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested and tried. It's indeed the best. Blue Jeans energy drink is for bold and active men and women. So go on, grab a cold can and power your day. It's in shops nationwide. You can contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190 055 001 0000. All right. So, gentlemen, Roxanne, I'll start off with you. The MP for Norton, Samuel Kujato Ablakwa, is leading a protest this morning against the sale of a 60% stake in 4 hotels owned by the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, near to Rock City, owned by Food and Agriculture Minister Brian Echampo. Ablakwa, organized labor, and other stakeholders have questioned the process that led to the selection of Rock City as a viable entity to purchase the hotels. The Norton lawmaker stated that the protest is to force the government to terminate the process. Quote, he says, if Honorable Brian Echampo has expertise and capacity to turn hotels around, he's sitting in cabinet. Why doesn't he bring that to bear so that we can turn this hotel around if indeed they're turning around for it to benefit all of us? Why is it that he will only bring his expertise to bear when he has bought it, when he now has controlling shares of 60%? It stands to benefit directly as a social order of Rock City. I mean, how can you explain this? So what is he doing in the cabinet? Why are we paying him? He added that the transaction is a clear case of state capture by appointees of the government. It's clear that this is all about state capture, and that is why all of us must rise up. If the numbers are massive, and I have no doubt that we're going to have a massive turnout, we'll send a very clear message to the president that enough of the state capture, and we'll try and get our reporters who are on the beat to bring us up to speed on this particular one. But in a related development, the Honorable Kujato Ablakwa assured the public that he's working around the clock to introduce a private members bill to prevent legislators and government officials from buying state assets. According to him, these public officials are elected to manage state assets. Therefore, they should not be the very individuals benefiting from such sales. He explained that that is why he's working with a team to introduce the bill in the 8th Parliament. Quote, we want this bill to be ready in this Parliament. So that is why at our press conference today, we appealed to the President that he should stand by to accent to it. We don't want him to do what he's been doing to other private members' bills, where he causes his secretary to write a cease and desist letter. And he added that although the current law prevents these officials from engaging in conflicts of interest, many legislators still find loopholes, or many public officials still find loopholes. As such, he said, quote, I'm proposing a private members' legislation, and work is advancing very impressively. We want to ban. You see, people are taking advantage of gray areas, even though there's conflict of interest in our constitution. Clearly, people are taking advantage. So we want a very explicit and very clear and precise piece of legislation that will ban all politicians and politically exposed person. And he clarified that the ownership of Rock City by a new Patriotic Party member did not influence his decision to push for the legislation. He said he did so because he believed it was the right course of action and will secure valuable assets for the next generations. Quote, when they give you a state asset to manage on all of us' behalf, if it was 6 hotels, why don't you make it 8, make it 10 or 12, add to it so that those coming after us, our children, our children's children, will look up to us and say, oh, we did well. We have become so responsible. So only Nkrumah should build assets for us, and we're just selling. What are we leaving behind for the younger ones? And so this is about the legislation, the private members bill to deal with this issue. And you're seeing footages from the demo That's what you're seeing on your screen. I think that they are gathering. Behind them is the Labadi Beach Hotel, and so you see that they are there with the billboards and all that. I've seen an interesting one. It says Sell Akomi as STC first. Roxy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yet, let me underpin my submission with the constitutional provision which defines public interest as a situation where a public officer who puts his position or is likely to put his position into conflict with the performance of his official functions. And so the point being made by the Honorable Okujeto is that the Honorable Minister for Agric, who is I stand to be corrected, the sole shareholder in the Rock City Hotel that is alleged to have acquired the stake in this number of Senate-owned hotels. Now, his point is that being a member of parliament and being a minister of state, he's clearly placed in a conflict of interest situation in this transaction, because his interest in his hotel surely will conflict with the position that he occupies in trust for the people. And so, that being the case, he ought not to be given the opportunity to acquire these hotels. He further makes the point that being a public officer and being a cabinet member, his ideas and advice in seeking to enhance the performance of the operations of these hotels ought to have been brought to bear so that the hotels could multiply instead of being sold off, for which he's ready to acquire them. I agree with him. If we allow things like this to fester, a time will come where state property will be acquired by public servants. Not merely public servants, but public servants of some standing, some great standing or national standing. It doesn't create a fair playing ground for other citizens who may be interested, other corporate entities that may be interested, or even foreigners who may be interested. So to the extent that he's in a conflict of interest situation, he doesn't think that he should participate in this transaction, even if the transaction is to be permitted. Now, the interesting angle that I have looked at is that Senate may be a shareholder in these hotels, a major shareholder in these hotels, and therefore may be interested in selling its stake. But what sort of valuation has been done in respect of this state property? Because this government itself,
the valuation was done by Same Capital.
Good. Now, this government itself came to Parliament about 4 years ago to promulgate what we call SIGA, State Interest and State Interest Agency. Now, this agency is now the entity that is supposed to evaluate state assets, determine their profitability, and divest them. So the DIC, the hitherto, the Divestiture Implementation Committee, the mandate and their functions have been hived off and given to this new agency called SIGA. Now, if SIGA is the statutory body that is mandated to evaluate state assets, determine their solvency or insolvency levels, and divest them or auction them, so to speak, then SNIT may not be the entity that is mandated in law to do this. Oh. Yes, it's an interesting angle. It's an interesting angle. that a lot of people have not averted their mind to. So SNIT doing this so moto may even run into legal problems. It has to take.
But SNIT is established by law. It has its own
exactly.
board.
Exactly.
It has its own board. So
exactly.
Why SIGA?
Yes, SIGA, because SIGA is the mandated authority, statutory body to evaluate state assets, determine their profitability, solvency, insolvency levels, and decide to divest of the state interest in these state assets. These are state assets. So if that is the situation, then I am raising the issue that it is no longer SNIT that has the power to do this, but rather SIGA. You may have to look into the perspective I'm raising.
Okay.
But it's a very interesting angle. So these are some of the issues surrounding this transaction. Or even if the law permits, then SNIT will have to be doing so in consultation with SIGA. Because SIGA definitely is the statutory entity that's mandated. In fact, as recently as 6 months ago, it's now headed by Mr. Boatin.
Edward Boatin.
Edward Boatin.
No, John Buedu.
Okay, Boatin has left.
Okay.
So it's John Buedu now.
Yes.
They have the mandate. And they have, as recently as about 6 months ago, listed some number of state entities that they intend to auction or divest the interests of the state in them. So we may have to look at the legal regime governing this whole transaction and see whether we are doing the right thing. So I think that the call for the transaction to be halted is in order. In the same way that some of us have called for the communication ministry's transaction regarding the 4G and 5G matters should also be halted, so that we do things in accordance with law. So my senior brother's agitation, which is taken to the streets in a massive protest that's about to start, we are all in full support. In fact, the minority, we are all in full support. But today we may have to divide ourselves. Some will have to participate in the demonstration, and some of us will have to go and solidarize with our leader in court today.
Or is in court today?
Yeah, it's midday. We'll be in court again. So that's where we are.
So you guys are still going by your threat that anytime he's in court, you will not...
It's not a threat. We have. In fact, we issued this statement last year. People thought that it was something new we said recently. It's just re-emphasizing the point we made last year that anytime he's in court, we'll have to go and solidarize with him. And we're only living up to the call that we made a year ago.
All right. Okay. Deputy Minister.
Randy.
Yes, sir.
I think that one is tempted to believe that this is nothing but sheer hatred for an individual. Yes, I must be blunt on this.
Can you withdraw that?
I can't. I said one is tempted. I can't and I won't. You know why? The continuous citing of Brian Echampong, Brian Echampong, Minister for Agric, he sits in cabinet and all that. Let the world know that this particular transaction predates Brian's appointment as a Minister for Agric. This whole transaction did not start with Brian after Brian became Agric Minister. You must check the facts clear. So it is not as if he's a cabinet minister and because of that, he's using his influence to do this. So first of all, people must know that this whole transaction predict Brian's appointment as a Minister for Agriculture.
Is it the decision by SNIT, or you're talking about the decision to divest to his company?
No, when you say divest to his company, that is wrong.
Okay.
Because it's put on divestiture. Bids are solicited from interested companies. So it is not to say that SNIT has taken the suo motu decision to diversify the interest of SNIT to Brian Champon. No. And again, let me also place on record that Brian Champon is distinct from Rock City.
What makes it so?
It makes it so because Rock City is a limited liability company. He's a lawyer. He knows what I'm talking about. So they are not the same. They are not the same. The company Rock City Limited is a company on its own, has its own directors and can take decisions, be sued, and can sue.
So if you lift the veil, what do you see?
So you have not gotten to a place you want to lift it. So you are lifting the veil now. Are you lifting the veil here? You are lifting the veil. He's a shareholder. So what is wrong? Because he's a shareholder, the company cannot do business. There's nothing wrong with that. And we must get that clear. So the moment you put Rock City aside and your emphasis is on Brian Champong, that is what I'm saying now. It is one is believed or tempted to believe that it's sheer hate and hatred. Other than that, you must look at Rock City as a legal entity, limited by, registered by the laws of this country and has rights. And again, the decision to participate in the bid process was long done, and the process has started before Brian became an agric minister. So the linkage is neither here nor there. If Brian Lechampo or Rock City, Brian had not become an agric minister, the process would have still gone on. We don't have a problem with it because all the analysis they are making reference to him being an agric minister. When the thing had actually started before he became an agric minister.
All right, please, both of you just hold on a bit. I've just been informed that our reporter Zoe is connected to us, and okay. So I can.
A quick point. Brian has been a minister of state in charge of national security. Brian has been a minister of state at the office of the Minister of Interior. Then subsequently he became Minister of Agric. So he's been a minister of state right from the inception of this government.
You got it wrong.
I did not get it
Please,
wrong.
let me tell you something.
I did not.
In the Nana Akufo-Addo's second administration, Brian was not a minister.
Yeah, but when did this?
I'm coming. This is his second beginning.
So what are you saying?
Beginning
no, you didn't say beginning.
Well,
you didn't say
beginning of the second administration, second term of
the man has been a minister of state, office of the president, charge of national security.
Randy, these are not
he's been a minister of state at the ministry of interior. So your argument that he became a minister of agric recently,
because your continuous reference to him,
the argument is that his portfolio as a minister of state.
Okay, so take notes.
The point I'm making is that the inception of Nana Akufo-Addo's second term, Brian was not a minister.
Yes.
He wasn't a minister until when he got into this second year. Brian became an agric minister last year.
2023.
2023.
Okay.
So check when this whole transaction started.
2018.
2018.
Yes.
2018, this whole thing started. Yes. Rock City put in a bid. It's not the only company that went into it. But Randy, look at these things we are talking about.
Right. No, let's clarify. 2018, was he a minister of state or not?
He was a deputy minister.
No. He was a minister
of state.
He was a minister of national security. It's more weightier than
Please. Okay. So the point is that
I want to hear you.
Randy, Brian is distinct from Rock City.
Okay.
And there's no law in this country that bars his company for going into a tender or a bid process. And was there a competitive tendering that went on or otherwise? Look, NDC, the 1993, from 1983, they had this DIC. Check the companies and the beneficiaries of people you've sold state properties to. To the extent that a wing of the NDC party, 31st December, a wing, recognized wing of the NDC party, owned 90% shares and the other owned by another leading member of the party. You've done all these things in this country. But let's come to the hotels we are talking about. Randy, Lapap. It's a 14 years existence. For 11 years consistently, they've been making losses. And no dividend have been paid to shareholders. So if you're a shareholder in a company that 11 years out of 14, you've not been paid any dividend, what would you think about such a company? 11 years out of 14 years, you've not been paid dividend because you've been declaring losses. You come to Elmina Beach. For 9 out of 14 years, it's been declaring losses. No dividend paid to shareholders. And these shareholders, majority of these shareholders, are SNIT people, workers, that they are retirement and their future depends on these companies. They put so much of our money into it. And then Labadi Beach, the only one that has done previously has done very well. 2 years.
Labadi and Ridge Royal.
2 years, I'll come to Ridge Royal. 2 years out of 14 years, they've declared losses. And even the profit that they've declared, they've made 1.7% on their returns on their investment. So this is the state of the top three we are talking about. It's only Ridge Royal that have made some, but even that, looking at the trend, they think that if we keep like this, we'll lose all our investment.
What are they comparing? What? Okay, so there's the hospitality industry.
There's a hospitality industry.
Those who make this analysis.
It is not there. It is the books of the companies
that you're using this data from the books to analyze.
Yes.
I'm saying that are they comparing this to what is happening as far as the hospitality industry
then
is
concerned?
Then of
course, yes. So I believe that they've done all that. Today, Randy, don't go far. Move and drive to La Palma.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
Not Labadi Beach, La Palma.
Yes.
And check their rooms.
Yes.
Check the state of it today.
Yes.
And if you're a shareholder, would you return home happy? You won't. Consistently, you have a company for 11 years that is declaring losses. You won't be happy. It's not the state that you should be happy about. So the decision was that let's diversify our interest. So the process is a competitive one. I'm not sure there's any law that if you're a minister of state, you own a company, you own shares in a particular company. Don't forget the operative word. You own shares in a particular company. For the reason that you own shares in a particular company, the company is barred from participating in any public tender. There isn't any law. He started this off with Jacob Echebi-Lamte. He went all the way to the Supreme Court. What is the verdict of the Supreme Court in this country? We must stop doing this to ourselves. He should go back and check the 300 companies under Diversity Implementation Committee. Who are the beneficiaries? Today, some of them are his leading seniors in his party. He's kept quiet over all this. We should look at the law, the tender processes. Has the tender processes been circumvented? Records must show that the process was skewed.
That's his case.
What is his case?
No, I'm saying he sat on this program.
What's his case? That has been skewed?
I'm saying that he sat on this program on 2 occasions.
That's what.
And he has made claims from documents that he's made available.
That what?
To the point that the process has not been transparent. It's been skewed. That's his case. I'm saying that's his case. I'm not here to pass.
So Randy.
It's like just a minute. I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm saying that's his case. He has gone to Shraj. He has made his case. Interestingly, organized labor has also publicly stated that its members on the board were not happy with the transaction and asked for the transaction to be put on hold. On their blind side, the SNIT management was still going ahead with the transaction. On the basis of that, they made an appeal to the president at May Day and followed up with a letter to the president on the 6th of May. Subsequent to all of this, we've seen correspondence to suggest that the president has referred the issue to the employment minister to engage with both labor and SNIT. So as we speak, labor itself, which is the biggest representative of the owners of SNIT, the owners of SNIT are the workers, itself says that it is not happy. Its reps on the board are not happy with the transaction. They've asked for it to be stopped until
Randy,
some clarification.
I don't want.
So this is the position of labor.
I don't want to see.
Labor has held a presser.
So you see,
to speak to the same thing.
I agree. I got it, and I'm aware of the matter being referred to the labor minister to look into it and make a report to the president. But in this case, that is fair. If they think the process, so now it's not targeting an individual.
No, labor said both.
Please, I'm coming.
They dealt with both. They raised the issue of.
But then that is even wrong.
They did both.
It's wrong because you see, if you think the process, then everybody else in the value chain is affected. You don't single out an individual. You got a point I'm making.
The individual appears to be the person whose company is going to benefit.
So wait, I'm coming. So you must also appreciate the context from where I'm coming from. That Rock City is a legal entity on its own. Brian Champon is an individual that own shares in a particular company.
He owns all the shares.
It doesn't
and is
really
the
matter.
beneficial owner.
Is a beneficial owner. So you have to look at Rock City making the presentation. He has its own directors, his management and all that, making that decision and all that. So come to the processes. Now the people on the Senate board, the reps of labor on the board, at what point are they raising these issues? I don't want to preempt the ongoing investigations by the labor minister.
Right.
I want to wait for the report to be sent to the president.
Okay.
But at what point are they raising these issues? These are also interesting matters that we need to also, but where I sit, forgive me, I don't want to be speculating and be going out to some of these matters.
I can understand.
Issue understanding. So please, all that I'm saying, that's a due process. And what if they've done? Well, if they feel that the process has not been fair, they've made petitions and the process is ongoing for investigation. So on the street, what are you doing? To the extent that you are bringing Baumia and all into these matters. It is more politically motivated than looking for solution for the problem. The one calling for this demonstration and making all these things, he must also follow you. You are in Shraj. You send the matter to Shraj for investigation. Why are you on the street?
Are they not mutually inclusive?
What for? Why if you believe you have a fair case to be dealt with by Shraj, or you believe in the competence of Shraj in the first place, why are you on the street?
The Shraj process does not injunct the transaction. His interest
is to
injunct the transaction.
So you injunct the transaction
because he believes that
you injunct the transaction on the street. You are going to injunct the transaction on the street.
Well, it's part of his strategy.
Please, let's be fair to ourselves as a country, and becoming pontificating righteousness more than the Pope is becoming one too many. And I think that he has done this before, and he always do this when election is near. He always do this. When election, he did that to Jacob Echebilante. Go and check the records from the court and what the court had to say about that.
We know Black West
so he does
activism in this regard. And
he does this only when it's election time. Go and check Jacob Echebilante's thing. Go and check
TUC is also doing it because it's election.
I'm not talking about TUC. I'm referring to Kujoto Black West.
But they are saying the same thing.
No, the same thing. They've gone through a process. Is TUC on the street? Is TUC on the street? The biggest beneficiaries of are they on the street? They are not on the street.
Government is engaging them.
Yeah, so why not? Don't you wait for government to go through the process?
Okay.
They are not on the street.
All right.
You are crying more than the bereaved. They are not on the street. They are following due process.
Okay.
You don't want to follow due process.
Okay.
You want to be a hero. He did that the last election. And what happened?
All right. So I'm told that on our show, Newsbeat, Naili Adefiu Setre, who's in charge of PR campaigns of a TUC, she spoke on the show about this issue and the issue of the board, the labor on the board and all that. Let's just watch this, and then I think you will also give us some clarity on the matter.
Well, our spirits and soul, so to speak, is back in this demonstration because it is about the sale of SNIT properties, and so because of workers' monies, which is in SNIT. And we're crying because people retire with next to nothing after having given their lives and their all to this country and contributed their quota to the country, to the development and progress of Ghana. And so if they have to go home as paupers, then all of us need to rise and stand against the sale of SNIT properties or assets. And indeed, not just these assets of SNIT, but then all state assets. Enough is enough. And for us in organized labor, this is why we support this demonstration. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. In fact, organized labor, TUC, and every worker organization has risen against anything that is not in the interest of workers. This is not the first time issues about SNIT is coming into the public domain. And in spite of the fact that representatives of organized labor on the SNIT board are in the least numbers, they still rose against it. And so you can go to the SNIT board and check their minutes.
Yeah.
So if anybody tells you that is not the case, that is not true. That is a lie. And indeed, yes, we are.
Okay, tell me why.
Well, our spirits and soul, so to speak, is back in this demonstration because it is about the sale of SNIT properties. And so because of workers' monies, which is in SNIT. And we're crying because people retire with next to nothing after having given their lives and their all to this country and contributed their quota to the country, to the development and progress of Ghana. And so if they have to go home as paupers, then all of us need to rise and stand against the sale of SNIT properties or assets. And indeed, not just these assets of SNIT, but then all state assets. Enough is enough. And for us in organized labor, this is why we support this demonstration. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. In fact, organized labor, TUC, and every worker organization has risen against anything that is not in the interest of workers. This is not the first time issues about SNIT is coming into the public domain. And in spite of the fact that representatives of organized labor on the SNIT board are in the least numbers, they still rose against it. And so you can go to the SNIT board and check their minutes.
Yeah.
So if anybody tells you that is not the case, that is not true. That is a lie. And indeed, after the Honorable Okujeto went to the, Okujeto Ablakwa went to the Shraj with the demands that this is what is happening and that it must be investigated. Even just around then, we knew that we were going to, and we have known about these issues all the time. But I keep saying and responding to some of these issues with that you cannot bring boardroom discussion into the open until you have got to a point where you're pushing and you can't push anymore. And if organized labor rose, we could go into the street, but it's just as well that we have all Ghanaians in the street because this is about all of us. And it's not just organized labor and us, but it's about you as well. And especially you young workers, when you get into the world of work, be interested in how you're going to retire because life is so short. So it's not true that organized labor has just been sitting. Of course not. I'm saying personally that I think that if this SNIT, I don't know whatever they work with, but if that portion of the Act 766 governing pensions in this country hasn't worked,
right,
especially with SNIT, as an individual, I think that it must be changed. It's not working for us. And I see too many issues. This is not the first time workers are fighting against SNIT and the management of SNIT. You know, this is not the first time. So why do we think we just have to rise and just fight? When in fact we can ask that law governing these institutions or pensions in the country in total should be changed. Why shouldn't we fight for that? We all need to put our weight behind organized labor and the TUC and everybody that is representing workers, all of us working people of Ghana. Because if our voice is united and unanimous on this, we will get the results quickly. Because organized labor alone, how many are they? There are just a few amongst us. You understand? So all of us need to rise with that fight to ensure that if the law is not working for us, let's change it so that it's.
All right, so you had Na Ayele Adefio Setre, Mrs. Na Ayele Adefio Setre, who is the PR and campaigns manager of the TUC, speaking with Annie Ampofu. I almost said of Riata. Annie Ampofu on Newsbeat.
Randy,
yes.
You see, it's quite interesting. Like I said, I'll restrain myself not to speak about certain issues until the report from the Ministry of Labour gets to the President. The President will make a determination on that matter on the basis of the petition presented to the President. But the people who have suddenly found their voices against the sale of state assets, I believe that they should have questioned how GNTC bakeries at La GNTC Bakeries at Kumasi, GNTC Bakeries at Takrade, GNTC Supermarket Dansoman, GNTC Supermarket Kanda, GNTC Supermarket at Ringway, how Kumasi Catering Rest House was sold, how Ambassador Hotel was sold, and the beneficiaries of all these properties over a period of time, and how ownership has changed over a period of time. And some of them are still within the NDC and still holding on to these properties. The worst of it, or they've not even developed them to add value. Some of them did not even pay for it and all that. For me, I think that where we are today, yes, it is true that we must speak up. We must speak up for matters that we are not happy about. But due process must also be followed. I think the civil thing to have done is what perhaps the organized labor has done by sending a petition to the president. The president has acted on a letter by sending, referring the letter to the labor minister to engage with Senate, TUC, the board, and all those that matters in this matter. So, if you don't want the president to work, then if you think that the street will be a better forum for you to resolve this matter, then there shouldn't have been a petition to the president in the first place. Because if you trust in the judgment of the president and you've sent a petition to the president is working on it, that you are aware of, then you think that the next thing is to be on the street. Then you are finding the street more an appropriate forum to seek redress than, or you want to twist the hands of the president, irrespective of the outcome of the investigations. Is that what they are telling us? We must all learn to follow due process, unless, of course, the president's decision, after the report from the labor ministry, you are not happy. It is one allegation after the other. The president cannot act on allegations, except fact-finding report on which the president will act. And the process has started. That's why some of us are restraining ourselves not to speak to matters even before the report is produced to the president. Right. So I think that this hitting the street to gain political advantage of it, who in the subsequent weeks begin to update Ghanaians how 300 companies ended up with some individuals. And today they are pontificating more righteously than the Pope himself. Stay tuned. They will begin to update Ghanaians.
Will you support Honorable Blackwell's private members' bill that he seeks to introduce in Parliament? And the bill seeks to prevent political office holders and politically exposed persons from acquiring state assets.
But I think that is laughable. Randy, I'm a politician today. Does it make me less a Ghanaian than anybody else? If legitimately by law, I have business acumen to engage in legitimate business, that bars me from doing business, but a pastor can engage in business, what kind of thing is this?
So you don't agree?
I won't support it.
Okay.
But we must make sure that every individual, irrespective of your background, you don't unduly abuse the process for acquisition of an interest in the business. Why? In Parliament, don't we have laws to be permitted to engage in legitimate business? So you'll be permitted to engage in legitimate business and you fold your arms behind you because you're a politician? What are they talking about? We must do legitimate business, and that's where the argument must go. Okay. If he's bringing this private member bill, we must retrogressively go back and see how 300 companies were sold under his regime as well.
Your constitution does not allow you to.
No, you can go back and investigate. But they are calling for, they brought a motion to Parliament to investigate how people were recruited.
No, there is a bill to enact a law.
No, that's not. But we also call for a probe into how 300 companies.
But you are the government. If no problem. Want to investigate,
but this one, he is coming as a private person. I could also go as a private person to seek the leave of the president, the speaker, to set up a committee to do that. When we are doing this, because we are a politician, can't you legitimately work?
Wait, clarify this for me. What you just said.
That.
I just want some education. Can the Parliament of this eighth Parliament?
Yes.
Can it investigate issues that predate it?
Of course.
Okay.
There's a motion to investigate how people were recruited in the Ghana Armed Forces in 1993.
Okay.
Circumstances that led to. I saw something like that, and I was.
You filed it?
Yes, and you also did from 2009.
Okay. No. We did from 2017.
Okay, so you did from 2017. Okay, then we should claim back. We should go back and claim it.
But Randy, let me say this. Sylvester is all over the place. Making some arguments.
I'm here with you.
Right.
All over where?
Let's be very clear.
The man is not in Golo Kante.
I'm here with
it's
you.
All over the place, including Western region.
Acquiring
football teams.
You see, please.
Now, Article 284 is very clear.
Yes.
It says a public officer shall not put himself in a position where his personal interest conflicts or is likely to conflict with the performance of the functions of his office.
Yeah, that is
this is the point I've made. I'm saying nobody is barring Brad Champon from doing business. In fact, he's been doing business. But we are saying that this kind of business is not permissible for him to do. How? If he wants Rock City to do this, then he should resign as a shareholder. Yes, that's what we are saying. Because you see, or he should resign as a minister of state. All right?
I know. Because
what we are saying is that his present portfolio as a minister of state is such that pushing his company, which is Rock City, you made the argument that the two are separate entities and all that. But you know that it is in these circumstances that the veil is perforated to see who is the controlling mind behind the company. As we speak, my brother Brian Champon hasn't conducted himself as a separate entity, legal entity from Rock City. He's been speaking in support of the transaction. I have watched him on TV.
Yeah, you're making another very valid point. I'll come to that.
Good. He's even said on TV that, Okujeto is his colleague from PRESEC, and that if he has concerns with these matters, he ought to have engaged him quietly. He has said this.
That was on radio.
Yes, on radio.
Point of order, please, a minute. He said that he's been briefed.
I have listened to you carefully, and I was quiet. So I am saying that he's highly conflicted.
Now,
he's highly conflicted. He's highly conflicted in the matter. So he has interest in other things. You think we don't know? We know.
But you also have interest in other things.
Me?
You think we don't know? You think we don't know?
The fish in the Peku water.
No, it's the Peku water.
But better there it is. You think we don't know? The catfish, you think we don't know?
But nobody is raising those matters. Yes. We are speaking of this one, this new transaction. We think that it smells of. It's a classical case of a conflict of interest situation. So it should desist from that. Two.
But there's an appropriate forum to determine conflict of interest matters.
Good.
You are before the appropriate court. And you are still on the street. So what is your position?
Hold on. This constitution.
You don't even believe
This constitution mandates any person who decides, like Randy says, the two are not mutually exclusive. The fact that I am before SHRAC doesn't bar me from
going on the street.
Using it's a constitutional right to demonstrate, to establish my protestation against a certain public transaction that I have strong feelings against. I can mobilize people to conduct that demonstration within the remit of the law. And the police will protect me and ensure that I do that in accordance with laid down procedure. So Okujeto is saying that in addition to being before SHRAC, I am bringing this also to bear. It's a form of pressure to bear. That is how you do things. You don't take cudgels, machetes. When we disagree, we go to court.
You've done that before.
So once you are in disagreement,
you've done that before.
Hold on. You've raised the issue about 31st December, acquiring properties. If you disagree with those transactions, nothing precludes you from going to court to have those transactions open and investigated. In any case, in consonance with our criminal jurisprudence, there's no time bar in investigating a crime. So if you feel strongly that a crime has been committed, investigate it. The way we are also in court seeking for some other transactions to be investigated. So this matter, don't be so pained by it, my brother. You are too emotional about it.
No,
are you linked to it? You are linked to the football team. You are not linked to Rock City.
No,
we also told
diabolical Rock City.
we also told that Rock City is also not doing well.
You are told. By who? Who told you?
I'm informed.
Who told you?
That they are not doing well.
Who informed you?
that they
the
are,
only way you can know the
they are not
performance
doing
of a
well.
company
Yes.
is by the books,
They are
official
not
records.
doing well.
Who told you?
So where are your official records?
Don't speculate.
I'm not
Don't
speculating.
speculate.
I say I am told.
Don't speculate.
I say I am
you
told.
are told. Who told you?
I'm told.
Disclose your source.
No, I'm told.
Disclose your source. Disclose your source.
As a public officer,
Disclose
my
your source.
sources cannot be disclosed.
Disclose your source. I mean,
You
when
have
you
to
sit,
go-
you
you have
sit
to
here
go to court.
and you say you are told.
have
How
to
do you
go.
come by you are told?
So if they are also in distress financially, how come they are acquiring other state assets?
So you must get a brief of the
You
tender
understand?
processes and
So-
the tender document they filed.
So let us take our time.
I'm
and
sure
look into
winning the
this
tender
matter.
bid is not solely on the basis of how one other, because you see,
And let me finish. I'm not done.
We need to finalize
Yes,
on this.
let me finish. Ken Ofori-Atta, as Minister of Finance, gave government business to his company. They were earning fees, and they are still earning fees from loans that we take. Edu Buahi, as Deputy Minister of Finance, gave government business, transactional business to his company that was earning fees.
I don't know.
Why? Why is it that when you guys are always in government, then you give government business to
Please,
yourself?
I'm not aware.
Today you are here talking
it's
about
not a subject
DIC
matter for
transactions.
It's like
discussion.
wrap up of
I'm not aware of that.
But I'm not wrapped up.
I'm talking
about
about the morality and where
He
we
has the
stand.
advantage because he's minister.
When we are in opposition, our moral stance changes.
Yes.
When we are in government, it becomes a different thing. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I've cited a classical example of Jacob Echebelante's bungalow, where Okujeto led people to the street and went to court subsequently. The matter traveled to the Supreme Court. What is the outcome? He demonized Jacob Echebelante in this country on the altar of public opinion. What happened when the matter went through due process? So you should be guided by that when you start a due process, you must follow and not to embarrass yourself like you did.
Interestingly, in that case, there were two Supreme Court judges who agreed.
What's the
with
finality?
him.
What's the final?
Yeah,
when we went to 2012, we went to the Supreme Court with the electoral petition. We are 5 out of the 9.
But if you don't succeed with a case in the Supreme Court, doesn't mean that you shouldn't keep fighting.
I'm not saying that he didn't lose the case.
Yes, he lost it.
I'm saying that at least
he lost.
When you were
what is at least? What is at least?
When you were studying law, and that often quoted Lord Dennis's
minority opinion,
yes.
now becoming majority opinion.
Yes, people forget that in that case it was a minority view.
But Randy, for me,
let me say this before you speak.
I'm coming.
When you see in constitutional law litigation, there's nothing like a win or a loss.
What are you talking about?
In constitutional law litigation.
What constitutional law? He took the matter.
No, wait. Are you in the law school?
I'm done with that.
Please, you are done.
What are you talking about?
You are done with law school.
Is the Jacob Echebelante's matter constitutional law?
Yes.
Jacob Echebelante's matter. What is it?
It went to the Supreme Court.
Please. No, you see,
it turned on the constitutionality of the transaction. So I'm telling you that learn this today. In constitutional law litigation,
there's no win or lose.
Yes. You are seeking for an interpretation of a provision of the Constitution that appears to have generated.
But don't you go with a particular viewpoint?
Yes,
good. Seeking the Supreme Court.
Good.
Seeking the Supreme Court. Talking about.
But
if that is your opinion, that's fine.
Let me say this today that constitutional law litigation, it is not like you are litigating to win damages or no. It is to enhance the interpretation.
But don't forget that matter didn't start from the Supreme Court. It started from the High Court.
It traveled.
Please, at the High Court, they don't have jurisdiction over interpretation of the Constitution.
Yes.
So the matter from beginning is not the constitutional matter.
By the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And when it gets to the Supreme Court, I'm saying the matter traveled from the High Court to the Supreme Court.
So I am saying that in constitutional law litigation,
Nana
Akufo-Addo was in court in so many constitutional. He lost a lot.
Oh, you lie.
Oh, wow.
Is the most.
Are you kidding me?
I'm telling you. Go and check the Ghana law report.
Go and read.
Go and check the Ghana law report.
Okay, it's okay.
But
we need to do this.
Go and check the Ghana law report.
We need to do this. We need to do this immediately.
Yes.
Right. Deputy Information Minister.
Yes.
Okay. This perhaps might be your first test, major test. You and your boss about communication synergy. From July 1, 2024, non-resident visitors arriving in Ghana will be required to have a health insurance policy before entering into Ghana. This is graphic online, 17 June 2024, 10:23 p.m. And this was reproduced by Joy Online. And it says that this policy is to ensure that all visitors have access to necessary healthcare services during their stay in Ghana. The mandatory insurance policy requires all non-resident visitors arriving in Ghana to be enrolled under a scheme through which they can access free healthcare. The policy affects visitors who arrive through the airports on visas or through visas on arrival, depending on their length of stay in Ghana. In February 2024, the Ministry of Health launched a national health insurance policy for foreigners visiting Ghana for a short period. The policy, dubbed National Non-Resident Visitors Health Insurance, was developed by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the National Health Insurance Authority and other partners who will jointly oversee its implementation. The policy pertains specifically to non-residents visiting Ghana for less than 6 months in any period of 12 months. At a media briefing on the modalities, so please listen to this carefully. At a media briefing on the modalities of the policy before its rollout, Dr. Isaac Morrison, Vice Chairman of the Technical Working Group on the Visitors Health Insurance Scheme, VHIS, and member of the NHI board, said the move had become necessary following lessons learned from the COVID-19 where foreign nationals fell ill and the country had to take care of them as there was no insurance in place. He said the issue therefore prompted activation of Section 2B of the National Health Insurance Act 2012 Act 852, which mandates the establishment of a health insurance policy for foreigners. Currently, countries such as Sierra Leone and Egypt are implementing that scheme in Africa. But guess what? We have this press statement which was issued this morning. This morning. Statement on mandatory health insurance policy for non-resident visitors. The Ministry of Health would like to clarify that the recent announcement regarding a mandatory health insurance policy for non-Ghanaian resident visitors is a proposal from the National Health Insurance Authority and not a policy of government. While the proposal aims to ensure that foreign nationals have access to health care during their stay in Ghana, it is important to note that it has not yet been discussed or approved by Cabinet. We urge the public to disregard any misinformation that may suggest that the policy has been finalized and its mode of implementation settled. We assure the public that any policy and its implementation shall be thoroughly scrutinized and taken through all necessary protocols to establish its benefits for the people of Ghana before being settled on, and is signed by the Honorable Minister, Dr. Bernard Okoboy. This is a policy that is supposed to start in 13 days.
Well, Randy, well, I think this is unfortunate. Otherwise, a policy proposal could not have an implementation date. So that in itself, those who announced the policy and even setting out the date of commencement, I mean, that is wrong. To the extent that I would take the position of the minister, is a supervising minister for that matter, and you couldn't have even implemented this without cabinet approval. Because it has cost implications and all that. So on this note, I'll take the minister's position. But to the extent that...
is it not an afterthought on the basis of the backlash?
Well,
are you not just throwing the people under the bus?
Randy, if it was a minister who had announced the policy, then that could be it. You could be right to say so. But since the minister's position is this, let's take the minister's position. And let's be kind to Dr. Okoboy for at least for the rapid response on this matter. Again, if we even intend to do something like this, we've always been taking insurance to travel to, especially Schengen jurisdictions, and you are required to present an insurance of your choice for the issuance of a visa. The reverse we want to practice here, I think we beg to differ. And like the Minister for Health said, it's just a proposal that has not been decided yet. We believe that we all have a stake in deciding the modalities for implementation of this. Of course, the National Health Insurance is quoting section of their act. 2B of their act. Of course, it's worth looking at it. But of course, if you are traveling to this country and you are required to present an insurance, now the insurance companies are working with other international counterparts. So it could work here. And many people from other advanced countries already have insurances that could work in Ghana. They themselves are more particular about it. So we should be looking at admissibility of the insurance from their respective jurisdictions. Because the period where they stayed there, they have insurance and it covers them anywhere they go. And they are mindful of having to travel to other jurisdictions, what could befall them, and then insurance of this nature. Perhaps within the West Africa or the African zone, you may not find people subscribe to insurances, as it were, but if you find, look at Ghana, our neighbors, they troop in more than people from Europe or from America. So what is happening to our neighbors traveling into Ghana? They are more susceptible to fall sick and will not even have any insurance cover at all. But people from Europe, America, and the rest, of course.
Because this is restricted to people who require a visa to get into Ghana.
So those who don't require a visa to come to Ghana, what happens to them? They are exempt. So we can treat them for free. I mean, these things, but I'm happy the minister has responded swiftly to this. So let's take the minister's position that this remains a policy proposal. And for policy proposal, it goes through a lot of stages to become a policy of government. And of course, the policy cannot emanate from the National Health Insurance Authority. Policy always comes from the ministry.
The Health Insurance Authority, in addressing the media, stated that it was a Ministry of Health thing.
Well, if it's a Ministry of Health thing, will not be given to the National Health Insurance to, as it were, announce the policy.
That's the implementation.
Yeah, but of course,
agency.
the policy will always be announced by the ministry, and the implementation agency will be named. So, in this regard, you remember the matter of IGP and then the Interior Minister we discussed here some time ago. I've always taken the position of corporate governance. We must look at the structures carefully.
So it was developed by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the National Health Insurance Authority and other partners who will jointly oversee its implementation.
Who is speaking?
The Dr. Morrison. He says the policy DAPT.
Dr. Morrison is even not the CEO of National Health Insurance.
Yes.
So I doubt. You see.
So you see, in February 2024, the policy was launched. The National Health Insurance Policy for foreigners visiting Ghana for a short period was launched by the ministry. The launching in February 2024. It was by the ministry.
So it was an existing policy.
He, Dr. Morrison, was a vice chair of the technical committee. So I'm sure he was then mandated to speak because they worked. You know, sometimes when it gets to
Randy,
this
I doubt
occasions,
if you always work to your bosses.
Oh yeah.
And then for a policy of this magnitude, it will always come with some sensitization because
this was a media briefing on the modalities of the policy.
Where was it held? At the ministry or at the National Health Insurance?
Okay, I can't tell the venue.
Yeah, so
you know that at this forum, what normally happens is that the technical persons are brought.
Yes.
To then come and brief the media and give the details and take.
But
that's what happened.
Not without the approval of the sector ministry.
Oh yeah. So without approval of the ministry, I'm not sure that. The only thing is that in February 2024, Dr. Kubo was not
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So for this reason and all other issues, we should defer, or I defer to the minister responsible for health. And he stated a position on this matter. Right. And he said we must all urge the public, or say he's urging the public to disregard any misinformation that may suggest that the policy has been finalized and it is made, its mode of operation, implementation settled. So I think that we'll defer to Dr. Koboy, and we hope that in subsequent weeks, if there's something like that, well, it's not a bad thing, but I even want to see extension to people who don't even require visa. They troop in and out more often than not. And these are things that we should be looking at. I think that the burden on our health insurance is a matter that we must all look at. But I've seen most people traveling to Ghana have their health insurance from their respective countries being activated, and they can still work here. I know people who are subscribed to some external health insurance policies that are used in this country. I know some facilities that accept foreign health insurance policies in this country. So we must also look at implementation very well.
All right. Honorable.
Yes, Doc, thank you very much. This policy is a matter of requirement in law. So is the government saying they will not implement it, even though it's a requirement in law?
They said they've not okayed it.
Why?
Maybe in its current form, maybe they might modify it.
The section 2 that they reference, it has an A and B. The A says that there should be a universal, in fact, it says the object of the authority is to attain universal health insurance coverage in relation to A, persons resident in the country, and B, persons not resident in the country but who are on a visit to this country, and to provide access to healthcare services. All right? So my question will be, have you completed providing universal health coverage for our people in this country before B will kick in. All right? There is a requirement in A that there should be a universal health coverage for our people. That's the demand in A. And 2 says you must also provide universal health coverage for non-residents who are visiting Ghana. I believe the policy has been discussed. What the government is running away from is the backlash. Backlash because I've cited a letter dated 22nd June 2022, written by the National Insurance Commission to SIC. In fact, the reference number on the letter is NIC/SIC/003/22/C01. In that letter, the National Insurance Commission, which is the regulator, was informing SIC Insurance that they have no objection. SIC had written that pursuant to government policy, they were to introduce a policy called Aquaba Travel Insurance Product for non-resident Ghanaians. All right? And the National Insurance Commission, the regulator, was telling SIC that they have no objection, they could go ahead and introduce it. This was in 2022. So, like you said, it's an afterthought. This statement by my brother, Okuboy, is an afterthought. It's an attempt to wriggle his way out of the backlash that the announcement has generated, especially the timeline given for implementation being 1st of July. So like the argument he made, a lot of persons who are traveling into this country have their own travel insurance. When we're also traveling to other countries, we have our own travel insurance. In fact, in a lot of places, it's a requirement. So you take the policy here before you fly out. In the converse, those who are also entering Ghana, they take their policies before they come in. So they must have not averted their mind to these implications and the fact that the timeline announced was too close. So people needed to adjust. If indeed Cabinet is here to discuss it, well, it's all good. But it's a requirement in law. And I think that we should rather be looking at meeting the requirement under 2A, which says that there should be a universal coverage for our people. The policy still doesn't cover our people in its entirety, in all the areas that they operate. That is where I think the focus should be. And look, why charge $45 even if you want to do a thing like this? This is, for me, this is like Frontiers all over again. Frontiers installed itself at the airport.
But who is charging for
collected? That is the announcement, you forgot.
No, but this is what the minister is telling you. It's not the policy finalized.
I am saying that the agencies have discussed the policy. They've discussed its introduction.
You can only take a final policy from the minister.
The minister is a recent appointee. He must have been done. All the technocrats, if they want to halt the implementation and have a real look at it, they should tell us that. They cannot say that the stakeholders, the NIA, which is the authority mandated under law to implement this, hasn't done this and hasn't issued the statement. They did. If the minister, as the sector minister, wants to ask the authority to halt the implementation so that they can have a second look at it, it is something we'll be debating. But they shouldn't pretend that it hasn't been considered, because the June 2022 letter from SIC to National Insurance Commission speaks to this.
But it's saying that it remains a proposal, means it's meant for consideration.
A proposal for which timelines for implementation have been
declared. But that's what the minister has
in 2 weeks' time.
I'm saying that
you are running now. It's an afterthought. We agree to Dr. Randy Abbey's suggestion that it was an afterthought.
Well, that's your
it was only a question I asked.
Okay, let me confirm that it's an afterthought.
Okay, all right. Okay. Gentlemen, we need to leave it here.
Yes.
Thanks for joining me. And Sly, I wish you well in your new adventure.
I'll come for pep talks.
Up next, GFG Trades.
Ghanaians will be quiet. Ghanaians will not turn up. Ghanaians will sit idle and allow their treasured state assets, our prize hotels, to be given away for a song in an unconscionable, obnoxious conflict of interest transaction. They have been put to shame.
Yes.
Look at the numbers today. Look at how many Ghanaians have come out.
Yes.
Since 6 a.m.
Yes.
Ghanaians are on their feet.
Yes.
And they are saying, enough of the state capture.
Enough.
I want to commend all of you. I want to congratulate all of you. This is just the beginning of the struggle.
Yes.
And you have encouraged all of us in the leadership, the TUC, the Federation of Labour, the Minority Caucus, the Gadangbe Caucus, the La Youth Association, all the political parties who are coming together to organize this non-partisan.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us this morning, Ghana Live on Metro TV, time to check out the trending on social media with Desi. What's that?
Oh, there's a trophy. A trophy won by our director.
Who's that?
The director in the control room, Kiki.
Ah,
He won 4 by 100
I see.
at the Just One Olympics held on Saturday.
Oh, it doesn't have those long legs for nothing.
Yeah, you know, and someone says Azamati has nothing on him.
Azamati is a sprinter, 100 meters, 100, 200.
100, 200. Kiki, so congratulations to you. Abigail Sanders also won Lime and Spoon.
Hey,
She came first at the Just One Olympics held on Saturday at the Lagos Sports Complex. So congratulations to the whole team. We're there to have fun, to just relax after a very long months of the year. So Just One Olympics took place on Saturday. Now let's move on and talk about what is trending on Twitter this morning. Of course, I think those have been discussed on the show already. Hands off our hotels have been in the trends all morning, even from yesterday into today. That's been trending. Also, the NHIS. But let's begin with this one. Hands off hotel demo, as we've seen Honorable Kujo Tablakwa there in the shot. And some of the comments, let me read them. Sandy Bediako says that, I think Ghanaian politicians should not be involved in our retirement investment. We need to increase general literacy about investment, savings, pension, and retirement policies to ensure sound financial and regulatory decisions. SNIT is messing up our pensions. Okay, we're moving on. This one says that they will sell the hotels, they will sell SNIT itself, and finally they will sell Ghana. NPP never again. That's from Masoon Roxon, writing that on X or Twitter. This one says, another demonstration to hit the streets of Accra this morning. Why are we doing this to ourselves as a nation? Must we sell our state-owned assets? Hashtag hands off our hotels, from AC Frims, writing that on X also. Let me read the last one on there. This one says that from Adam Perry says, Brian Champa is not willing to back off from buying the SNIT hotels, so let's push him off. Come on for the hands-off demonstration now. So that's going on, and my colleague Zoe Anitoda is on the ground to definitely bring us all the update. Make sure that you join us at 12 noon for the midday bulletin for more details on that. Now, just before Doc wrapped up with the panelists, they're talking about the NHIA and that new announcement about foreigners coming into the country and we're paying something when it comes to their health care and all that. A lot of people have been raising concerns about it. Barry says that it's disheartening to see Dr. Kuboy being used to exploit both foreign and local citizens. I'm concerned about Bamia and the Ministry of Health's plan to charge $45 and $270 for NHIS. My heart is broken. Barry writing that also. And Mark Jordan says, compulsory health insurance for foreigners. For what? Is this really happening? Dr. Okuboy, please, someone should tell me it's not true. I can't handle the thought of it being real. Mark Jordan writing that on X also about that. This one says that the NHIS work effectively in Ghana at all. Just a question. So that's someone's question also asking, even if it works, for there to be one for foreigners to pay. And this one says, NHIS was never for only Ghanaians. Foreigners have always been on it. If you read well, the type group of short-stay travelers mostly come in with much more robust international insurance. If you force a new one on them, it will cover. Will it cover up their visit to a fancy hospital? That's a question from Abdul Gafar. So it will keep going on X, the conversation on this particular one. So really, those are some of the trends. The rest of it has to do with football, the Euros happening in Germany, talking about Lukaku, Belgium, and also the Premier League, the new fixtures for next season that has also been released. Those are all in the trends this morning. So, Doc, that's it really. All right. I know it was a really tough weekend for you. Yeah, but it's all good.
You know, I'm even in black today. A friend of mine, Sefa. A lot of people call him Sefa, but he's actually Max Sefa Poku. He also died last week. And so the 1 week is today. It was around the Las Palmas area, the Domi Station at La Paz. Wow. You know, it was the first person who took me to Kumasi.
Oh.
Yes, and he passed on just last week. Sudden death at 54.
Wow. Really sad there.
So these days, not a week passes by without
hearing things like that.
God should have mercy on us.
Yeah, that's why I also have to thank God for adding 1 year to my age. So I thank you so that you increase it and grant me more blessings.
So Sunday was your birthday?
Sunday was my birthday, 16th June. Okay. It's a beautiful, I fell on my cradle. I could see. And it was Father's Day.
I still don't understand how come you were born on Sunday.
Doc.
Yeah.
Doc, why is that so?
I mean, how?
Doc, I was also.
Yes.
So you see, don't want that. Okay. You know, that's it there.
So the big one is coming.
Yeah.
The date is
29th
of this month.
Yeah, of this month.
Okay, let's watch this. So what was that? Please put the last photograph on. What was that? Now help us understand what we just watched. What was that?
That's a handsome man and a beautiful lady.
Doing what?
What
is it about?
I think they are getting together.
Okay. So I can identify you.
You can identify me.
Who's the lady?
That's my soon-to-be wife.
So that's your fiancée?
Yeah, that's my
So this is a lady you're getting married to on the 29th?
Yes, sir.
And this is your pre-wedding, how do you call it?
Shoot.
Your pre-wedding shoot?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you boys, you know,
and her name is?
Emanuela.
Okay.
Me having possessed the... Anyway, yeah. So
Desmond and Emanuela.
Yeah.
So how will yours be called?
No, ours is called Forever Danso.
Forever Danso. Yeah. You didn't pick something from Desmond and Emanuela. No. So Forever Danso.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forever
FD.
Forever and ever.
All
Straight.
Right. Okay. All right. So congratulations in advance.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Hey. And you are you. Okay, why was all about me?
That one is funny. That one is funny.
What I just said.
Oh, okay. Why should you can't do so?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Or you want to play her song for her?
No, I'm sure she has deleted it.
All right, so up next, Metro Sport.